I think I think painting, not particularly watercolor, but painting in general, I think there were so many years where I couldn't make art because I was just sort of, making a living and having kids and dealing with, all the things of life. And I guess I had lived in such a gorgeous place. And I think, people who make art, and everybody, I guess, just like you sometimes have this like, oh my God, I need to represent this, or I need to get it out of, and so painting is the best way, I guess, for me to take all that energy that I get from how beautiful it is around, and I couldn't just have that as like, it's just beautiful and that's it. Like I need to kind of like, bleh, like I need to put it out somehow. So painting is a really good way to do that because you can kind of, it's not just representational for me. It's not just photorealism. It's like I can put some of the extra stuff that I see in the world more in the paintings, if that makes any sense. First started painting again, it was obvious that I had to paint all these gorgeous things I would see. And I do paint a lot, mostly from photos. I'll just be, as you live here too, right? You'll be driving and it's the right light or the right day or the song on the radio, whatever it is. You're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And you stop and take a picture of it, right? So those are the paintings that I'm generally doing. And my kids too, because kids are so... They'll be like jumping on the trampoline or like swimming, and it's just everything looks so magical. And it's weird that I have to take pictures, but I used to think if you couldn't just do it in your head, you weren't good, which is ridiculous. It was just some weird idea I had. But yeah, so I'll take a picture and then I'll be like, this one, I gotta paint this one, and then they change a lot between the photo and the final painting, but. Oh my God, this one's really pretty. So this is a weird moment because if I leave it on for too long, there won't be any orange left. There's a lot of like surprise in this, which is really fun. See, and then you would take that, and if it's the sky, and if there's like if you want to highlight like a sun kind of popping out behind some like thin clouds, you would lighten up some parts of it. And then you could kind of get this moody thing going on. I think when I have to write artist statements or talk about my work, which is like always kind of hard, but I think that's kind of the nugget of it. It's sort of that there's this like vibrancy to life that, when if you're painting like something happening, you kind of want to get that feeling like either it's the light, if it's just a landscape, or it's like the way someone's standing, or the way... you can kind of get like, oh, it was probably a hot day, or, oh, I can tell that kid's cold and wants to go home in that picture, or, that sort of thing. Like I'm trying to really get those moments, it's kind of the goal. It's interesting, right? Because you're sort of, as everybody's different, right? But I think, you're thinking like, what's meaningful to me? And you can look at a painting as like, well, this is just an object. And if someone likes it, hang in a house, like what's that, But there's more to it because I think, sure, it might end up hanging in a house. And even if it's in a room where nobody sees it, or, and it's just an object. And I have one friend actually, if we're going to go deeper, let's go deeper. I have one friend who, he had a really good point. He just sort of said, there's already so much visual, audio too. Like there's just so much out there right now. And he's like, he was reluctant to add to the pile. In some ways you can say, well, yeah, what I'm making, like I want it to be important enough to be made. Like I want and you can kind of tell when you make a painting that should have been made, if that makes any sense. Like you can kind of be like, okay, this one has a bit of a language of its own now that I made it. Like it's going to say something to someone, and you put it out in the world and you see what happens. you know, and if somebody wants it, that's great. And if it brings joy in the future, that's great. But for some reason in the moment, for me, I would have to do them anyway. And if I was adding to like the overabundance of imagery in the world, well, then I would just paint on the back. Like, gesso it again and do another one.